Right, yeah, the newest cone will come out at 10 o'clock, but the next intermediate advisory is at 7. But I want to go over the specific impacts from location to location. So that's really the most important thing, because we all want to know what's going to happen at my house. So looking at the North Shore tomorrow, this is what we have. Tomorrow, I would have all of your preparations done by tonight, but if you have to wait until tomorrow morning, at the absolute latest, you can wait until tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Everything should be done by 8 o'clock tomorrow morning at the absolute latest when it comes to preparations, because things will start to deteriorate and go downhill tomorrow when it comes to these conditions across the area. So make sure you have all those last-minute preps done tonight, but if you really have to wait until tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. at the absolute latest tomorrow morning would be my recommendation for you. But the sooner the better for sure. So let's get into what you can expect for the North Shore. Tropical storm warnings in effect for Wednesday. Rain of 3 to 6 inches. So there can be some locally higher amounts of rain. And like we've been saying, the ground is so saturated from all the rain we got over the last few days. It won't take much for maybe a tree or two to come down. And with those saturated soils and the stronger wind gusts that do pick up, we could see some downed trees, maybe some power outages, of course, across the North Shore, especially when those gusts spread inland. So wind gusts on the North Shore anywhere from 50 to 70 miles per hour, especially near the core of that storm, which looks like at this point is going to be just west of Parish-by-Parish. So just out of our immediate area in terms of the center of the storm, but we know we're on the eastern side of it. We're getting the big impacts. Doesn't really matter where the center of the circulation goes. When it comes to the strong wind gusts, we are going to be seeing some gusty winds for our North Shore spots, up to 50 to maybe 60 miles per hour, but isolated gusts up to 70, 74 miles per hour in a few spots closer to the center of the storm. So Parish can be seeing those higher gusts closer to maybe 65, 70 miles per hour as the storm moves inland tomorrow sometime in the afternoon into the early part of the evening. So that's what we're looking at, the landfall time tomorrow in the afternoon through the early evening. Storm surge 3 to 5 feet for our lakes. So that is what we have for Lake Pontchartrain, Lake Maurepas, and Lake Bourne. 3 to 5 feet of surge is expected. Also, our North Shore rivers will be in a flood stage later tomorrow through Thursday. So our rivers will be running high across St. Tammany Parish and Tangipahoa Parish. In addition to all the rain that we've seen, we're going to see the heavy rain coming in tomorrow, plus the surge pushing the water into our rivers. So we'll be seeing the rivers running high on the North Shore Thursday into late tomorrow into all of Thursday. And then it will take time through Friday into the weekend for the water to come down for our North Shore locations when it comes to the rivers. What to expect on the South Shore for Metro New Orleans. So anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of rain. Again, locally higher amounts of rain possible. That corridor of the heaviest rain will be monitoring. Street flooding certainly possible across the area. Anywhere from wind gusts up to 50 to 70 miles per hour. Wind gusts expected across the New Orleans Metro for both the East and the West Bank. New Orleans East, and for Jefferson Parish down into Jefferson Parish on the West Bank as well. So wind gusts of 50 to 70 miles per hour, but we can get those isolated rogue gusts up to maybe hurricane force gusts up to 74, 75 miles per hour. Can't rule that out. Not expecting that to be a widespread issue, but you can never rule out 1 or 2 gusts up to that strength, and the surge anywhere from 3 to 5 feet out of the hurricane risk reduction system. So 3 to 5 feet of surge expected for parts of New Orleans East and for the South Shore New Orleans metro area getting into tomorrow. So what to expect for our river parishes, where there is a hurricane warning in effect for parts of our river parishes. It's getting into tomorrow. Similar rainfall totals, 3 to 6 inches, some higher amounts possible. Wind gusts 60 to 80 miles per hour. Since we're closer to the center of the storm for parts of our river parishes, Gonzales to Donaldsonville seeing the center of the storm in this general region. Of course, that track can still nudge a little bit, but for our river parishes, expecting 60 to 80 mile per hour gusts with surge of 3 to 5 feet above normal dry ground for our high tides. But like we've mentioned, the high tide is happening early tomorrow morning. So like the overnight hours when the storm is coming in, will be more trending in the low tide. So actually that'll kind of help a little bit. By the time the storm comes in, we'll be in our low tide phase, which could help just ever so slightly. So luckily the high tides will be happening before the storm moves in, and our low tides look to be happening when the storm is moving in. If that is any consolation for us, at least we have at least a bright spot with that. For our bayou parishes, hurricane warnings in effect for Terrebonne and Lafourche Parish. 3 to 6 inches of rain generally. Again, that corridor of higher rain, maybe up to 8 inches in a few spots, can't rule that out. So watching for flooding, of course, and then the wind gusts up to 70 to maybe 90 miles per hour right along the coastline. So our coastal spots may see those gusts getting up to maybe 80 miles per hour plus for right along our coastline, but spreading inland anywhere from 70 to 80 mile per hour gusts for our bayou parishes, and the surge, the worst of the surge expected for our bayou parishes of 5 to 10 feet above normal dry ground. So that is something we certainly want to prepare for. You have those last-minute preps in now before we get into the worst of this tomorrow. So, and the impacts will be starting for our coastal communities first. So our coastal spots will see the impacts first by tomorrow, just before the lunch hour, around 11 a.m., 12 noon. Things start to unfold, and then they really deteriorate into the early afternoon and later afternoon hours. Again, we're still watching the exact timing, but tomorrow is just going to be a nasty, rough day. Coastal spots, again, rainfall not too different, 3 to 6 inches generally. Wind gusts at 60 to 80 miles per hour for our coastal spots. And then for our western locations, so from Port Fourchon to eastward towards Venice for western Plaquemines. So from Port Fourchon to Plaquemines Parish, that's where we'll see 4 to 7 feet of surge. And then for our eastward facing shorelines, so for eastern Plaquemines up to St. Bernard, 2 to 4 feet of surge. So the worst of the surge is going to be off to the west, particularly west of Port Fourchon. So Port Fourchon and westward to Cocodrie through Terrebonne Parish, that is going to be the worst of the surge, maybe up to 5 to 10 feet in the worst case scenario. So getting into our impacts for South Mississippi, 2 to 4 inches of rain expected. A little less rain for coastal Mississippi. Gusts maybe up to 40 to 50 miles per hour, and surge to 3 to 5 feet for our coastal spots in Mississippi and South Mississippi for tomorrow.